Welcome to Conversations from the Heart, honoring Andrew Cohen through our stories. My name is Daniela Bomater. I was a student of Andrew's for 17 years, and for the past 9 years, I had the privilege of living and working alongside him. This series is a tribute to his life, his teaching, and the evolutionary fire he sparked in so many of us. Through these intimate conversations, we remember not only the man, but the depths of transformation he catalyzed in our lives. May these stories keep his legacy alive, honoring the sacred thread that connects us and allowing his voice to continue resonating through ours. So welcome, Suddhakar. Thank you for having this conversation with me about Andrew Cohen. I'm very happy that you agreed to do this. And it's the second conversation that I'm having. So it's very exciting and it's still very new. And yeah, we just want to have a conversation about your experience with Andrew and probably start with the question, how did you meet Andrew? And what was it that captivated you? What was it that kept you in contact with him? And yeah, if you just want to tell your story about him and you.
So, namaste, Daniela. It's my pleasure speaking to you. I think it's a long journey. I had to go back, to so many years back, like maybe 30 years back. I met Andrew in Prashanti Kutiram, S. Vyasa. In one of the conferences, he gave a talk. He was one of the invited speakers. And that was the time, the science versus spirituality was just emerging. So in that, he was like, a mystic speaking from his own experience, not speaking from any traditional or anything. Out of his own awakening, he started speaking. And, my journey into spirituality started little early, like in 1988 it started. But when I met and when I heard Andrew speaking, something triggered within me, like, exactly like, he's just speaking to me, to my own experience. But it was not very clear to me. I had some experience, but I don't know how to contemplate or understand. And it was very difficult in India to go to a guru and speak to them directly about your experience. I was quite young at that time. Maybe there may be some teachers, but I don't know. But this Andrew's talk gave me something, deeply touched my heart at that time. I'm not a great intellectual. I'm very innocent, and the way he was speaking, I couldn't grasp everything. But definitely that I recognize that there is something, definitely I need to be in touch with his teachings and all that. So it's a long journey, like 30 years, but ever since I'm in touch with Andrew or his teachings. I attended a couple of retreats. So it's going on like that.
That's interesting that it was like 1995, something like this, like very early on when he was teaching, yes. And do you remember what he was talking about in the conference? You say he spoke directly from experience. Do you remember was he talking about liberation? Was this what struck a chord?
It was on, it was about enlightenment, but at the time it was Moksha Foundation.
Yeah.
And he spoke about and he responded to some of the questions, and he spoke about what is enlightenment. And fundamentally what struck me is like when he explained that right relationship to the thought, wrong relationship to the thought, no relationship to the thought. So my struggle was like I had that no relationship to the thought was very much there, and a taste of the consciousness was there, but the right relationship to the thought was missing. That was that created some kind of a what you call a suffocation within myself, like And with open eyes, how can you be in that freedom, like you can live that the freedom that you discover within yourself, the absolute. But in the waking state, when you are living and interacting with the people, interacting with the world around you, so that's where the right relationship to the thought, it was like a laser beam that went into my heart, like yes, this is it, like something triggered within myself about that particular aspect that when he spoke about. So I was really impressed, and after that I enrolled myself to a retreat in Rishikesh. It was 2 weeks retreat. And there I really, that was the first time, like it's a big gathering, more than 200 people. We were in silence completely, and I had a lot of experiences there, and the right relationship with thought, I could able to understand how to inquire, how to contemplate. So that's a big one, like it's a big breakthrough in my spiritual journey, I can say. That's why I'm ever grateful to Andrew. After that, it's like a completely ongoing journey.
Yeah, that's very interesting to me to hear that, because what I hear you say, this right relationship to thought, later was probably expanded in his teaching to a right relationship to life, or to the awakening to becoming. How do I live an awakened life, not only by retreating from life and going in meditation, but to live it in our so-called daily lives. Yeah. So, and this right relationship to thought, it sounds to me this was the beginning of his becoming teaching, of helping people to understand what it means to wake up and then stay awake in how we live our lives, and what does it mean to have the right relationship to life,
Yeah.
and
The thing
and
is,
to our own thoughts. Yeah.
yeah. The thing is, like as far as I'm concerned, like when you have an experience of the consciousness, the pure consciousness, but once everything looks beautiful, there is nothing wrong, everything is perfect, and it's beautiful. But the moment you wake up and start interacting, that's where the real challenge comes. So
Exactly.
in that, yeah, that challenge was addressed by Andrew very much. I feel like his passion towards making that available to everyone. I think he started questioning many of the things. In tradition also, we have this thing like it is not that experience that liberates you; it is the wisdom that liberates you. It is the understanding that liberates you. So understanding about who I am fundamentally, that understanding, that wisdom, that becomes the context to face the world. And I can organize myself, I can discipline myself, I have to do many things after that. Actually, that is the beginning of the spiritual journey. It is not the end. Actually, that is the real journey starts. And it's a big challenge. At times I felt like, uh, can I go to that state of the perfection, like whatever that Andrew was speaking about, and looking at his personality and looking at the way he was living his life and a living example. So in a way there was a fear, in a part of me there was little fear that can I do that one, can I go to that state. The other side is like there is a possibility, like okay, that's what it is, that's the meaning of the life. And if you have that access, then it is the responsibility to move in that direction. So that helped me a lot. Yeah, there are so many ups and downs and speed breakers and everything, but that inspiration and that guidance helped me to whatever I am today in this chaotic
Hmm.
world. Yeah.
Hmm.
So
Yeah, that's
then I think
beautiful.
yeah, the right relationship with the thoughts slowly evolved into as you said, like it's being and becoming. Then later everything was evolved, like everything started evolving in his teachings. And meditation became very simple, like in that context. Otherwise meditation has become like a pure people who are looking for some kind of an experience. Yeah, experience is needed, but that is not the only thing. That there is much more to that one.
Yeah, exactly. And I just wanted to comment on what you said a second ago about wanting to live up to the perfection of what you saw. I found it very interesting in the last years when Andrew was teaching and when he was speaking about our potential for liberation. He always said you need two things. You need to believe that it's possible and make it your priority. You want to be liberated. And the second one I found so poignant, he said, and you need to believe you are worthy of enlightenment, of liberation. And that had a big impact on many people, like striving for perfection, but not shying away from believing that we are worthy of it, because everybody is worthy of liberation if we believe we are. Yeah. So I found that a very beautiful also twist in his teaching, that he put so much emphasis of our worthiness on the believing in ourselves, that we can discover the liberation that is always already there.
Yeah. So the potential, like, whenever I look at him or whenever I heard him speaking, it was always spontaneous. He was always spontaneous, and it was always something new to understand. And the energy was so fresh and lively. And I never, experienced that kind of committed people, in my journey of spirituality. Like, the way everything was organized and the people so committedly coming together and exploring this new, I don't say it's a new, but maybe we were discovering something new all the time, discovering. I never know the inquiry part. Everybody said that, you have to contemplate and you have to inquire, but I never had any clue to how to inquire, how to contemplate. Contemplation is not just thinking, like, so it requires a particular kind of, discipline, a particular kind of, what you call, mostly a discipline and a little guidance from within yourself. Then, you discover it is an inquiry. It is not just, throwing out, some thoughts that whatever I get in my mind. It's not like that. The quality is entirely different. That quality is something really beautiful. And the way, it unfolded within myself, so many things, like, so many things that I needed to understand, they were just revealed. Whenever I got those kind of revelations, I was literally thrilled. And there is a joy and there is a beauty, and there is so much of freedom, and there is a meaning, a purpose to my life, in that direction. That's the spiritual journey. And it was really, very fascinating. And I'm not exaggerating, because I'm not a great intellectual, I'm not studied so much, I'm not an academician. But to a layman, a simple person also, if we can have that innocence and the surrender, and go in that direction, like, whatever that it is guiding, and follow that, the guru, one who is already in that path, and guiding. See, the whole consciousness is speaking through that, teacher, that guru, and everybody is listening. And it is like, it reveals a lot. Actually, in the presence itself, it reveals a lot. And I enjoyed his presence. I really enjoyed his presence. The presence was so captivating, so alive, as if that, the whole consciousness I can feel with open eyes. You don't need a samadhi. Yeah, I know, don't need a samadhi to experience that. Collectively, like, there are moments, maybe that not the complete 2 hours, but there are maximum a lot of moments, like, maybe for a uninterrupted minutes of, togetherness with open eyes, that stillness, and something speaking, and everybody is just listening, not with a mind, with something else. Those are the beautiful moments. Those are something extraordinary. I really enjoyed. And you don't need to remember anything. You just be there in that presence, that fragrance, the fragrance will, touch, and the fragrance will, spread to everyone.
Yeah. No, that's beautifully described. Beautifully described. How was your relationship with the community around Andrew? How did you perceive the community? Did you make friends? How was it to be part of a community?
Yeah. So I don't know whether I'm fortunate or unfortunate. I don't know. But at the time, the face was there, like, friends of Andrew Cohen, that something was there, no face. It was face. It's called face. So
Yeah.
yeah. So that internet also was not very popular at the time in India, and I was also not using the tech, this internet and all those things. I was mostly living in India and doing my own little things, but I'm in touch with some of the seniors whenever they are in India, or I used to visit the Rishikesh Center, those things. But I was not a formal student, in the community. But I was in touch with the seniors, definitely, those who are leading here. And whenever Andrew is here in India, I made sure that I met him, I traveled with him, I attended all the retreats, wherever, whenever it happened in India. And I'm fortunate to get the invitation to attend one in the France and one in the America, in the Boston also. But unfortunately I didn't got the visa, so I couldn't attend. But ultimately I got one visa to Italy, after it
Yeah.
became evolutionary enlightenment. This was a big gathering, more than 200 people for 21 days. It was something great. Like, I had that, fortune to be in that community. And the second part was like more like engaged, like, the subjective thing, like, the, what you call, collective,
In the subjective non-duality. Yeah,
yeah,
exactly.
subjective non-duality and the enlightened communication discussions, and speaking beyond the ego. So those
Yeah.
things were like, they are challenging to the ego, but yes, that really helped to discover, like, and I feel that I can relate to many things, like, when the consciousness, when people come together, if for not expecting anything in return, and just being there, their presence, the consciousness speaks through anybody. And and I can relate to that. Okay, I was just thinking about that, and somebody else speaks that. That means that the oneness is there with with the body and mind, and not meditating, but it's a meditation. It's more than a meditation. So that non-dual subjective thing was like, yeah, that really helped me a lot to discuss and engage with the other seekers, where sometimes I can take a pause, or sometimes I can participate, and I can assimilate. When somebody is speaking, something unknown emerges suddenly, and it is beneficial to everyone. It's beneficial
Yeah.
to everyone. Nobody can claim that it's mine.
No, exactly, because it comes from a deepest part where we all are one. It comes from the oneness that connects us.
Yeah.
That was is what makes this practice so beautiful and so powerful. I
And
want
one
to
more
come
thing I
back
would like
to
to,
yes,
one sec,
sure.
yeah, the thoughts are just coming. Like,
Yeah.
another thing that I was very much moved by Andrew's teachings is, like, the way he describes, the way he uses the words, and frames certain things, like, they are something extraordinary. To give an example, the way he simplified the whole meditation aspect was something amazing. I really loved that one. One, like the way he evolved that particular phrases also. Like, in the beginning, we have 4 phrases. Later on, it became only one sentence. Even that one sentence can reveal. It can put somebody who is really interested into meditative state. So the way he simplified the whole process, like whole teaching, like whole spiritual thing, the non-dual. See, the non-dual is a very tricky thing. Like, it looks like, you understand, and suddenly you fall off. Like, it's because it has 2 sides. Like, so the one side is easy, but the other side is the, like, it takes real time to digest and understand all those things. So the later part
And
also, that,
it always stays a mystery, no? Like, yes,
yes,
I
yeah,
agree with you. It's a mystery that we can kind of touch into have an experience, but it's never fully revealed in a way because it's too big to grasp.
Yeah, that's why he says, like, enlightenment is a secret. From the Indian perspective also, if you look at Gita, it says, like, Bhagavad Gita also says that it's called, good is a secret. Secret
Yeah,
means it's not exactly secret, but it is beyond the comprehension of the mind.
exactly.
The mind cannot comprehend.
Yeah,
And the moment I say that I know, it's difficult. Like, what you know
yes,
is gone. It's already gone. Only thing is that you can understand what it is. You can understand the quality of it, and then you use that understanding to live in this world with the detachment, untouched. And when you're going through tough times and challenges, that really helps a lot. That really helped me in my own life, because life is having so many challenges in everybody's
yeah,
life in their own way.
yeah. I agree with you, and even now, Sudhakar, I'm pretty sure you feel the same. In the midst of the grief about Andrew's passing, which is only 2.5 weeks back,
Yeah.
I still am strongly connected to the liberation that he has allowed us to access, and it's right there. He is right there, and the liberation is right there. And in the midst of all of this, the grief is also there, and the sadness, and the missing him a lot. But it's all true at the same time. Also in a non-dual way that is hard to describe, but it's real.
Yeah. I feel that, his physical presence, I'm missing, but every day, like, he is there, like, the teachings are
Mm-hmm.
there. They are very much alive there, because they never be outdated, because that is the reality. That is the truth. Like,
Yeah,
it
exactly.
is eternal. It is eternal. But the thing is, like, when somebody is, like, an enlightened being, physically, present, then, it has its own flavor, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
But even now, I feel that, yeah, the grief is there, that, I miss him, talking to him, or, interacting with him. But the essence of his teachings are guiding me. That light is there. That light is
Yeah,
there, and the light will shine much more, is my understanding.
yeah, yeah. I agree.
I think it is needed very much now. It is needed. And the other thing that I feel very strongly, like, uh, when he's not there physically, the light will again shine much more, because people can access to that easily, because their egos are now at least, satisfied a little bit. They're not going to be challenged. When it is not challenged, it is easy to come to the teachings, at least. So once you assimilate, then you understand, and you see the greatness of that individual who has given
Mm-hmm.
you that understanding.
Yeah, that makes sense. I want to come back to something you said. You were traveling also with Andrew through India, and I know that. And I know that you also met other spiritual teachers and gurus in India together with him. Is that right? Can
Yes.
you talk a little bit about that? I can imagine that this was very interesting.
Yeah. So in the conferences, like, after that, like, one Mr. Shastriji he's no more. He's a scholar. He's a chemistry professor, and he's a scholar. He studied Vedanta, and he was very, impressed by Andrew. And they used to have in a small room, that, few people, Andrew students and very close people, used to sit together and, discuss. And he used to be so thrilled by, when he's explaining. Andrew is speaking from his own experience, and he's quoting all the scriptural things, like, from the Indian, traditional
Yeah,
Vedantic perspective. So
yeah,
they
yeah,
exactly match. They exactly matched everything. Exactly matched everything. He's a very well versed, a master in Sanskrit,
yeah.
and
Mm-hmm,
he
mm-hmm.
studied Upanishads and everything. That was, like, beautiful. I think even Andrew also enjoyed that, and he also reaffirmed, like, it's a reaffirmation to
Yeah, yeah.
what he's speaking. So I think that's where he loved India. And there are people, like, but very few people could, relate to Andrew from that state of consciousness. But when it is a, retreat, yes, you can easily understand and, be with him. But when he speaks from the higher state of consciousness, it is little difficult for the other people to, connect to him, what he's speaking about. But later on, people started understanding. I think that was the beginning. Like anything new comes in, that new always takes some time for the people to understand and digest. So his interaction with so many other teachers also, like they were really good actually. They were very happy, and they were like, we met a couple of times in his ashram, and in Rishikesh also we met, and he used to be very loving with Andrew, and he used to discuss, and he gave one talk in Bangalore ashram, Shri ashram he invited. So he gave a talk there, and he always used to tell Andrew that India needs a lot, come back, again and again, and this needs, the country needs, like Indians also need this understanding, this wisdom. You come very often. He used to encourage, and he was very friendly and loving with Andrew. There are so many people, like we met Ajja. He interviewed Ajja, one enlightened soul from Bangalore, from Karnataka. And his interviews for the what is Enlightenment magazine. So that also has thrown a light, a big light on so many aspects, so many discussions. So much of wisdom has been put it on the paper. Like people really enjoyed that, and he has created a big scale, like a big parameter for all the other teachers also, like the way he was living. So he always says, like, living example, like, living example is important, So that was a big challenge to many people. Like, okay, we can have a spiritual experience, and okay, we can say, take, shelter in that, and again go back to our own conditioning. But he created a scale that's, and I used to tell to one of the seniors, like, I used to speak to Steve a lot, he used to stay in India. He was like a structural engineer in the spirituality, because he created so many structures, like they were there, but those structures to the modern man, the way he created the structures, in a very simple format. And he proved, like, it's not a proof actually, it's like a living example among the community, among the students, in the retreats itself. We experienced that oneness. Maybe there are 200 people, that oneness is there, with closed eyes in the stillness, or while engaged with one another in a dialogue.
Yeah, that's true. And when you say structures, I think one of the qualities of Andrew was also that he could explain this mysterious concept in a very rational way, rational in a good sense, like with clear words. His teaching was so clear, so precise in a way, even though it's hard to put in words what the experience is and what he was pointing to, but his pointing out instructions were so powerful.
Yes. Yeah, those words, like those sentences, sometimes, like like something extraordinary. I can't be. See, one of the retreats, like I had a very powerful experience, and I was not able to speak much, like the way I'm speaking now. So I used to, want to see him privately. He said that nothing, meeting in privately, you can speak in the group. But I spoke a little bit. But after that powerful experience, in the next session, when I sat for meditation, the meditation was not happening. I was a little disappointed in the beginning, but then after that, something triggered within me, a flow of, it's not I was thinking, a flow. If I can hold on to that flow, I shared this with many people. I can't hold on to that flow. It's like a wisdom flowing just like that. I'm just a watcher. And even that was also, in that stillness. It is not exactly still, but there is something. The flow is there, but still, yeah, I'm at peace, and I'm grounded completely. And after the retreat, if I wanted to recollect, if I can recollect all that, I can at least produce 2 books. But it is impossible. You can't stop that flow. It is a flow. Like a river, it is flowing. Like a river, it is flowing uninterrupted, so clear. Like, it's just going on and on and on and on. But later on, I realized maybe that stayed in the memory, or, I don't know. But whenever somebody asked, or, when I'm interacting with other people, it used to come spontaneously.
Yeah, that's the state of the authentic self, as Andrew called it. When we are getting beyond ego and are aligned with that flow, that river, that the evolutionary impulse that drives the creation of the world, then we feel like it's a generative flow, and we just go with it. We respond to it.
Yes.
It's not a passive. I've always find it interesting. It's not a passive state. It's like a flow that we want to respond to by living our best expression of ourselves. Yeah, that's something that I found always very impressive with Andrew's teaching. That he called upon us to live our best, our most beautiful, true, and good life. It always felt like he wants us to sit up straight and be our best selves, no, and express spirit through who we are.
Yeah. And another thing, like, whenever I interacted with him, I had the fortune for the last, maybe a decade or so, more than a decade. He became more like, he was very loving towards me. He was very kind. And, we had that kind of a friendship. In that friendliness, we discussed many things. In those, discussions, like, sometimes it was, 40 minutes, 45 minutes, an hour. He was always speaking only about these subjects, nothing else. So that discussions also, like, after the discussion or while discussing, it was so enriching, it was so fulfilling, so enriching, so inspiring, so much to discover and gain the confidence, like, the way he coined the word spiritual self-confidence, that gave rise to much more, to go in this direction. Though the current of the world outside, the unconscious patterns are so strong, where we can just fall easily into the world, the way right now the world is going through. But this helped me not to fall into that. Maybe as alone, you can stand alone. You can really fight it back. So that confidence and that confidence was really a light, to face the world, Yeah.
Yeah, and I know that he really appreciated the friendship with you, Suddhakar, after the crash in 2013 and everything that happened. He was so happy to have you as a friend and student and as an inspired person, and that still believed in his teaching. And I think that was so valuable to him.
And another thing, like, we discussed a lot about the guru and student relationship from the Indian perspective. And I can tell you with the great humility, I'm saying, if you would have born in India, he would have created a history. Created a history. I'm sure about that one. And being, a Westerner, like, but his roots of his awakening and the way he explained, and he really loved India. He really loved that there is something in India, country. The moment you come here and, when you speak about these things, there is something, like, there is some deeper thing. He always said, like, you guys in India, like, the spirituality is there in your blood and bones.
Yeah.
He always said, he very, very laughingly, sometimes making fun, he says that you guys are really like that, and in the West, it is not that easy. Like, they can't relate to the guru so easily. And about the crash also, I want to share a few things. I don't know what exactly happened on those things, but when I met him, when I heard about all these things, I was unconditional with him. It's my relationship with my teacher. So my relationship with my teacher is important to me. So if he is having, other things, so that is, he has to deal all those things with himself. So I never, uttered a single word or anything, like, or even somebody saying certain things about Andrew. I felt really like, okay, maybe they have the pain, they experience the pain. But in India, if you experience a pain or anything through a guru, you take it as, okay, a cleansing process, a karma that you are dissolving, instead of blaming the guru. So in India, we have a great respect towards the teacher, like, because if God and teacher both come together, whom do you prostrate first? I say that, I prostrate to the guru, because without guru, I can't even recognize the God. So that's why Guru Brahma, Guru Vishnu, Guru Devo Maheshwara, Guru Sakshat Param Brahma Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. So Guru is like the Guru, one who liberates you, not the general, the academic things. We are not talking about those things. We are talking about this fundamental thing. In the fundamental thing, the Guru's role is very, very, very important. Without his guidance, without he saying that this is what you are, I cannot recognize. So maybe you may recognize, but it takes its own sweet time. If somebody is already there, he recognizes you because he is already living in that. He recognizes you and he can just say that, okay, that's it, man. Then you can compress your time so much, and so that you can evolve much more. You can evolve much more. So my relationship with him was, it was something really great. I don't know, I born in a very small village in a remote place of, Andhra Pradesh, and where Andrew, he's an American, and somewhere we met, and our journey is 30 years, long journey together, and we were so close, I never felt that I'm separate from him. So that the intimacy, the love, the friendship, that it's like, I can't explain in words, it's something really beautiful. I think that happens only in the spiritual domain. Maybe in the general world we may still have some reservations, but here it is not there. It's only one. It's only that one. That oneness was with him is something like I cannot forget. It's my blessing in my life, meeting Andrew.
Cut it. But you were beautifully talking about the Guru and the importance of the Guru.
Yeah, in the tradition, that's very, very important, especially in the spiritual domain, in the spiritual teachings.
Yeah.
Because these are all, unknown things. They are mystical things. And the journey is always from known to unknown.
Yeah.
So in the unknown journey, and you need a guide, the guide is, who is already on the path and he is moving in that direction. And, all together moving in that direction gives you, you are in the right direction. You are moving in the right direction. That gives you a kind of confidence, and, and that is very much needed. Otherwise, there are possibilities that, one can go into, different direction. One can, spoil one's life, or one can be connected, from the world and live completely a different life. But this togetherness and with a teacher helps to navigate oneself to, in the right direction.
Absolutely. And it is probably true that it's probably true that it's more ingrained in the Indian culture that this is an important relationship than it is in the West. Therefore, probably many Westerners have much more difficulties to see the value of the Guru and to understand what the relationship to the Guru actually means. I think it takes a lot to understand that. But once you have, it's a bond that is unlike any other, isn't it? It's not comparable to any other one. Yeah. Yes, exactly.
It's forever. Once you are there, you are there. Yeah, it's forever.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed, I really, I had tough times with Andrew, those challenges and those things. But I never, I never felt, okay, let me face those challenges and, let me come out of that, let me deal with that. So he was like a great inspiration. He was very, great inspiration. I saw him, giving a talk in Shivananda Ashram. And in Shivananda Ashram, it's such a prestigious institution in India. When he gave a talk over there, coming together and, exploring this, and, there is a possibility that, we can change the world. He always said that, the world needs that. Maybe everybody thinks that it is difficult to change. Yeah, of course, it's not an easy thing, but the possibility, he's saying that, with this kind of direction, with this kind of teaching, with this kind of understanding, this is possible. Maybe right now I feel that maybe the world right now also needs this one. Otherwise, where we are heading towards, look at, all the issues, we are all discussing about health issues, environmental issues, all kinds of, pollution. Krishnamurti ji always says, G.D. Krishnamurti ji says that the corruption is within oneself. It is not outside.
Yeah, exactly. But it's also it's so hard to convey this message to people, and to it's hard for people to actually do what these teachings point to. Andrew's teaching and many other spiritual teachings that point to actually let go of the personal and go beyond the ego, and connect to in a deep way, and then see how the world could look like, and then create a new kind of world that is not corrupted, but would benefit from this access to the source of life, and be powered by the source of life.
But the thing, I think, from my understanding, I say that, one has to, ground in the ground of being for a real time. So then slowly it comes to that state. I think now we are just maybe that particular what Andrew is speaking about is important. It's needed, but many people need some more time. Maybe I feel that we need to that kind of uh, evolution in individual to understand and assimilate and go beyond that, and sacrifice one's ego for that.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Otherwise, everyone is having their own personal baggage. Is their personal baggage is so strong, like everyone has to do the personal baggage, and the world that we are living in is not that easy to survive.
No, it's not exactly. Yeah, and
Yeah,
I agree with you. Without the access to the ground of being, there is no grounding. There is no foundation for whatever we feel compelled to do. So that this is the first step to actually be able to let go and experience the ground of being for real, as who we are, and then get up from the meditation cushion and see what is the right relationship to life, as you said at the beginning.
yeah.
That is what Andrew was pointing to. What is the right
And that
relationship to
also,
life?
yeah, and that also needs more ground of being. It's not like one has to convince oneself. One has to have the conviction that, yeah, this is it now. I'm done with that one. This is it.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
then
yeah.
I think, yeah, then only he can take the next step.
Yeah, no, I agree totally.
Yeah.
And it takes a lot of practice and a lot of conviction and a lot of dedication to spirit. Therefore, Andrew's first tenet is as true as it always was. No, we have to make this our first priority.
Yeah, I want freedom more than anything else. Yeah, those tenets
Yeah,
are like, those like they are the very fundamental things.
yeah,
And
yeah, yeah.
it
They
it's
are.
yeah, it puts the ego on challenge, in a big challenge.
Yeah,
Mm.
yeah.
But he
It,
is such a great soul, like, meeting him, when, with him, and traveling with him, and being with him, and meditating with him, interacting with him, understanding with him. I feel that I'm blessed, actually. I am
yeah.
really blessed and very fortunate to be, his student. Maybe I know I'm not a very formal student, but I consider myself that I'm a student of
No, you
Andrew.
you are,
Yeah,
you were, and you are. I know that, and he would have agreed with that wholeheartedly.
yeah. And
Yeah,
I when I'm teaching also, whatever that I gained from Andrew, I taught to in my classes. That helped so
mm-hmm.
many people, so many
Yeah,
hundreds of people, because the language barrier is there. But that's why I couldn't bring many people to Andrew. But
yeah,
his
yeah.
teachings are implemented in many of my students in their spiritual journey. It helped them a lot. Some of the people that they attended Andrew's retreats also.
Yeah, yeah. Some beautiful people from your student body came to some of the retreats, especially here.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
So in India right now, the potential is there for, like, meditation and inquiry.
Mm-hmm.
There is a big means, I can say that it is like, ever since I met Andrew, I'm saying this one. Even now I stand with that one. Meditation and inquiry is the need of the hour in India. Very
Yeah,
much needed. Very much needed.
yeah,
Because the modern man doesn't want to go in the traditional way.
yeah, yeah. Exactly. It has to be.
So
It has to come in a different form. No?
yes. Yeah. And the
Yeah,
way he explained and the way he coined the words, and they are very, very simple and easy to understand and put it into practice.
yeah, yeah. Exactly. Yeah. Is there anything else that we left out that you would like to mention I think it was a
Uh,
beautiful how you talk about Andrew.
and the books, like, I read, like, the small books helped me a lot. And the way he chose, like, freedom has no history, that has so much to convey. Freedom has no
Yeah,
history. And myself is my master.
yeah,
Your true self is your master, like, and who is already discovered his own true self. And he is your guru. And once
yeah,
you
yeah,
discover your own true self, you can go together, like, so you have that gratitude, that that love towards your
mm,
guru. And so these are something, like, that helped me a lot, means a lot. I can't explain. I'm ever grateful to Andrew. That much I can say. And he is there all the time with me, and he guided me. We shared so many things on a
yeah,
personal note and on a spiritual note, everything, like, I feel really, really blessed to meet Andrew and be with him, and interact with him and stay with him for so many years together. I
yeah,
really,
yeah,
it's a fortune for me.
yeah. Thank you so much, Sudhakar. This
Yeah,
was a real
yeah.
pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you, Daniela.